For the chat. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Chat from the Golden Vault, our weekly live streamed post-session discussion. We talk about what just happened during D&D. This is the chat for session 14, so if you've not watched that, please go do that, because there will be spoilers. I'm your DM, Eric, and joining me we have Veros player Chris.
Hello.
Enjoying a popsicle, and Sherry's player Raymond. Hello! So this was just a kind of a fun interstitial thing, kind of an idea I had to throw a complication on top of what otherwise would literally just be an errand to go turn in this. It just felt like a very video game step for me, or like a little twist. It was like, oh, now I got to go turn in this quest to make sure I get the money off of me or pay the money to get my people healed. Right. But it turns out there's an extra complication, which is that Schemo, because he is involved with some shady folks, perhaps it stands to reason that he would be involved with shady folks on the regular,
yep.
and you guys would have to deal with that. And these guys are violent criminals.
Yeah.
Functionally, it was... So my initial idea was... I was inspired by one of the new book releases called Adventures in Faerun, which had a bunch of mini drop-in dungeons, and one of them is called Safe House Standoff, which is a criminal organization kidnaps a Zentarum operative, and you're actually hired by the Zentarum to go and rescue this person. And it's a very small little building map that you beat up a bunch of tough stat blocks and stuff.
It's a fight, basically.
Right, which my initial idea was to use that, and the reason I didn't is because I was thinking, like, gosh, this is actually turning into like a mini heist, because you go to the... My idea was you would go here and you would find it ransacked. And so it's like, okay, well, now that's like an investigation, and then that will lead them to the trail of... They'll get a trail of clues that will lead them to the safe house. But then once they're at the safe house, they could treat that like a mini heist, where it's like, now we can explore around, investigate, and I'm thinking, like, this is actually a lot more than I wanted to do. And normally, inserting a mini heist is a cool pacing thing to do in the middle of adventure, but our entire campaign is a series of heist adventures.
Right.
So, like, I actually don't want to do that here, because that's literally what you guys have been doing the whole time. My idea was just to throw, basically, a combat encounter at you guys. So I kind of scratched that. I kept my concept of there's an extra complication for turning in your quest, and that's that you run into another crime organization. But instead of it having this separate... safe house area that you would have to find clues to go into, I'm like, all right, well, let's just say they just went to the store and did kind of the gangster thing of, like, they walk in and close, put the close sign on there, usher everybody out, and then have a, heart-to-heart with Schemo. Let's just say the players happen to come upon when that's happening.
Yeah.
And because you guys are level 5, I had to, make sure I had enough muscle in there and everything to put up a good fight.
Including an aberration.
Yeah, so I guess what you guys hadn't learned quite yet, but you will very quickly, is they're the other big criminal organization in Waterdeep is the Xanathar's Thieves Guild. And I tried to look and see what kind of creatures they employ and everything, and one of them are these kind of cool little miniature, which is such a fun stat block that is literally only from, I believe, Waterdeep Dragon Heist. But takes, like, the fun, random debuff stuff of the Beholder without giving him a whole lot of all the nasty, really nasty effects that obviously the Beholder would have.
Really deadly stuff.
So I was like, that's kind of a fun... And I really loved using him here, because sure enough, they were able to stay in the back and just constantly hit you guys with those... although Stacey ended up making, like, all the saves, which is crazy.
Yeah.
But they do all those little, annoying little effects and everything. It's funny how much a single spell changes the dynamic of a fight, though, because with Ray shooting that... So my idea was you guys would fight your way through the building, through the store, and then eventually make it back to, Schemo, who was in the back room with the boss and everything. So it was kind of a little miniature dungeon crawl.
You're imagining it as a series of smaller fights?
No, definitely not smaller fights. You were definitely always pretty much going to aggro, unless you did something real crazy and careful. You were pretty much always going to aggro the whole group. But I could at least stagger... Which I think I did, actually, if I go back. I think the first round, I didn't even roll the left side of the map. I literally only had, like, the first couple guys. So I did at least stagger things a little bit.
Yeah.
But it would just create that cool, like, fighting within the building. And then, some guys are, like, popping in and out of doors and shooting you and going back in there. But because the opening, which was a great move, creating this huge stinking cloud spell in the middle of the store meant that like no fighting is happening in the building whatsoever. So now we're just spilling out onto the streets because you've emptied them out, which works. And thankfully this map has a little bit of street space, but if you can tell, it's clearly made for the building itself.
Just enough. Like if it
I know,
had, like 5 feet less of street space, this would have gotten awkward.
Yeah, and that's always the case. Is like the maps always need like the extra space like around.
Yeah.
This map, by the way, is from Tom Kartos, a very renowned cartographer. And the Roll20, I think I linked it on the main session we just did. There's a marketplace link, but his stuff is all bundled up on Roll20. I think this one is called like Traders and Dwellings or something like that. And this particular map is called Apothecary, and it works really well.
Yeah.
Because we didn't need a map last time we were here, and this was just a social encounter. But this time I'm like, you know what? I want to actually have everybody fighting in this store, but I need the right map that has just the perfect amount of space and stuff, and this one really fits the bill.
Yeah.
So not a case where I found the map and then decided to do the encounter. I actually wanted to do this encounter and then had to find a map to suit my needs.
Right, yeah.
But thankfully I did. But yeah, I didn't actually differently scale things because Elowin wasn't here either, which I thought about. So I just thought like, they're level 5, they're fully rested. Let's just see how they can do. And especially with
See what happens.
Yeah, with the spell opening up and kind of staggering everybody, I was like, okay, they're doing a really good job of opening things up. So I think you guys...
We're not in any danger of getting overwhelmed.
Well, and you guys have hardly been hit.
Economy.
Right, yeah, you guys have been doing really well on that. And a lot of these guys have pack tactics, but you've staggered them so well because of that spell slowing them down and everything that none of them have been able to use their pack tactics so far.
Yep.
Yeah, and you've split their forces, and somehow Shuri has tanked like half the enemy forces on the left side of the map.
Right.
Because of those goddamn lucky points.
Yep.
I feel like in like our entire history of playing D&D, this is always like the best case scenario for a wizard, where they get to go very early on in the battle,
Lay down a very impactful,
and they get to cast one spell that defines the battle
and lasts.
Like okay, this spell is what's gonna construct the battlefield, or
it's nice when you get a lot of value for like one spell. And we were sweating. I know I've triggered that concentration save a few times, and I could tell that very first one you're like, fuck, if I lose this, and I'm like, yeah, that would suck to lose it like immediately. Yeah. Instead it stayed up the whole time. So it did at least delete a couple turns in the beginning. It also staggered the group, and also there's at least one guy who's basically trapped and can't get out from his like back corner in there as well, I believe. So it is doing some serious work back there. But it's just funny how well Shuri's been able to avoid getting attacks while literally like tanking against so many dudes on this left side. I actually love the way you split this. Go ahead.
Correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think you're like actively targeting the spellcaster as like the person who casts a spell. Just Shuri happens to be the person that's closest to the enemy.
Sort of. I mean, at one point they did say, they've got a wizard and there's obviously a spell here. Like these guys aren't idiots or anything. So that's part of it, but also Shuri happens to just be like, I like this map because it did create a situation where they have this other side they can literally enter and exit the building on. So a lot of them ended up going that way to escape the stinking cloud area, and then the other half went towards the entrance into the killing fields of Stacey and Tavine.
Yeah.
Which they've taken out quite several. Shuri hasn't had the damage potential for that, but he's been just fucking defending against it so well. Like, despite all my attacks.
Yeah, if I had known there was another door over there, I wouldn't have gone that way.
Yeah. It's an interesting...
One guy hanging out on the corner.
It's an interesting balance, even though I've got a lot of guys. None of, except for the boss, I believe, have multi-attack. So it doesn't feel too overwhelming with those enemies. But you saw, like, the bugbears can actually do some serious damage with their attack moves. That was crazy, that one that you did the lucky against.
Lucky's great.
Lucky's really good.
Got a lot of mileage.
Yeah. And I expect you guys to unload here because this is, you just long rested and we're not on a mission. So it's like we can just use a lot of our resources. So honestly, I also tweaked this fight to be a little on the harder, more intense end because I figured it's just a chance for everybody to unload on their stuff a little bit.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I haven't actually and I've kind of been playing around with the balance too and you even called out, it's like, wait, has the boss not done anything? I was like, no, not really. He's kind of just standing in the back, RPing and socializing, because
I was just expecting him to like charge forward towards my teammates so that I would be free in the back.
Right.
Like, wait, has he not moved?
He's also, I mean, I try to play these guys like smart criminals too, where he's like, I'm
Yeah.
going to kind of keep eyes on Schemo for a
Yeah.
second.
Yep.
I did have you coming because you rolled that good stealth check, go in and actually get rid of him, but then immediately on the boss's turn, he noticed like,
Yeah.
oh, he's gone, so I got to aggro with that.
He's still trying to talk to the guy.
Right, which again, I love it because you guys effectively split this up almost 3 ways with Stacey and Tavine at the entrance, Cherie kind of around the corner, kind of by the wall, and then Vero going all the way around and literally splitting up the enemy forces as well.
Right.
So yeah, this was meant to be just kind of a fun chance to let loose and get a more traditional combat encounter, which normally I don't feel like I need to insert into our pacing, but this is just a unique campaign where it's been not a lot of combat fights. Yeah, and this is a chance for like, oh, we can actually like let loose and take people out and just kind of fight people and have a fun little gangster war.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like it's going to happen now, but
Good.
man, what if something happened where Skeevo died?
I know. How would we actually heal our friends?
Well, that's it's a possibility.
I guess
For me, that was a deterrent.
I'm like, we could have like, if he's dead, you could have a note on him saying like, steps to heal.
Well,
people
I'd
who
probably
are
create a whole
poisoned.
nother quest chain at that point. Where it's like this is starting to get really interesting now. The main deterrent, which you're not that kind of wizard, would be this would protect these forces in a unique way from being like fireballed or something, because you don't know if Schemo's in there and you don't want to hurt him. Although I realize, but your wizard doesn't do that anyway. You're doing these more, which I love that you're keeping this theme, and there's actually a lot of great spells you can take, like this one, where it's like completely incapacitating but not doing any damage, which is awesome. So yeah, that was like kind of the deterrent, and I kind of made it so you guys couldn't quite see exactly where he was and didn't know what the situation was and all that, and that was going to be a mystery. Is like, well, we want to get in there, we don't want to hurt him. So yeah, that was technically on the table, but in general, like, these guys aren't there to like, kill him necessarily, or you guys don't know what they're there for. But
Right. Yeah.
yeah, that was going to be a deterrent for any mass AOE murder effects, which I guess Elowen would be the only one that would really do that. With like Moonbeam or something is what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
the fart cloud. Yeah, that's an effective one. Yeah, so it's a combination of the tough stat blocks, which is kind of just a standard guard thing, although they have a lot of hit points. The spy stat block, which I hardly got to really use these guys, honestly. These little gazers, which are a lot of fun, little beholder guys. I probably got the most use out of them. The bugbears.
I didn't notice that.
Sorry?
Oh, there's multiple of those?
There are, because Cherie was getting hit by another one.
Oh,
A different one.
Okay.
Yep. The bugbear guys, and then even though he looks like a bugbear, the boss is actually not a bugbear stat block. I'm using the tough boss for his stat block, which is something I want to try to play around with a little bit more in the future. Is using different tokens for different stat blocks. So even though you guys don't metagame, but it still kind of creates a little interesting mystique. Like, you could have like, I don't know, a goblin be like the spy stat block or something. I could just, they can be whatever.
They do something you didn't know they could do. Yeah.
Right, yeah. So I'm still using like a stat block, but it's not like, oh wait, I thought that was just a generic goblin. So I did think we would get through this, although it's hard to tell with combat.
Yeah.
And it's also hard to tell whenever we level up. That usually takes a hot second and return to trench. So I meant to have this be a session, but we almost got through it. We'll finish it up next time. And I mainly didn't want to get too deep into our next mission, but right before we take a big 2-week break,
might be helpful to you because we won't next time.
We'll probably get as far as like the opening thing for it or something. We'll see. I'll have stuff planned, obviously, but we'll just have to go over a lot of it because when we come back from our break, we'll be so like
starting over.
Starting over with how things are going down. So we will see.
Yep.
Anything else about session 14? So this is totally off book. This is just something I thought was a fun little interruption, I guess. as part of
Nice,
a
yeah.
what would normally just be a little intermediate thing going. Oh, what'd you think of the items
Oh yeah.
that Trench gave you all? This is actually in Keys in the Golden Vault. It literally says at the I guess because it's not a traditional dungeon crawl where you're not grabbing a lot of items. It's like basically after every mission or every other mission, reward all your players with this tier of item.
Nice.
So
Okay.
for this, it was technically everybody got, I believe, an uncommon magic item, and I thought it'd be fun
Yeah.
to try to tailor each item for the characters,
Right. Yeah.
while staying in the
Yeah.
restriction of that tier of item.
Right. Yeah. 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 They're very cool. I'm curious to see both Ray's and Rochelle's what shenanigans they can get up to with.
Yeah. They got the more shenanigan type items.
Yeah.
Yeah, as soon as I read about that deck, I was like,
Yeah.
oh, that's definitely going to Sherry.
I was joking that like the item you gave me basically makes it so I can't fail stealth rolls, but I can still roll 2 1s. Technically, like that could happen, and it almost did tonight. I
You
rolled
barely,
Did we get a
yeah.
5 or something?
Yeah,
It's
you had like a
okay,
14
well,
and a 16 with the advantage. And I think you literally have to, I guess it's technically have to meet us at the DC, but like default, you have to make like a 15 to even like succeed at hiding, basically.
yeah.
So you barely made that one.
Which means because I have a +10 on stealth, it means I have to roll above a 5 or higher on,
Yeah.
on an advantage.
On an
check,
advantage
which should not
check.
be hard, but you can always roll a 2 and
But
3
it does
or something
happen.
like that.
Poor Reese,
It
man.
does,
He
yeah.
struggled so hard with the dice
I
tonight.
know.
Jesus, for no reason.
He was
Just
making so many attacks, and like half of them were just straight up whiffing.
he averaged like 4 attacks a round with flurry of blows, and he only ever hit with like 1 or 2 per round.
Yep.
Bit
Yeah.
of a struggle. And I think I also made the save against the one stunning blow that he attempted as well. So it was,
yeah.
it was rough. Stacey opened up with her blind was a good move. Combining that with action surge is a really good move, because then you can blind and then immediately turn around and attack him with advantage.
Right.
That's pretty
Yep.
deadly. I think the fighters still only get the 1 action surge, but I think it's still per short rest. So I mean,
I think it's
that's something I forget in Baldur's Gate. I always hang on to it. And I'm like, wait, it's a short rest thing. I should be using this way more often.
right. Like once a battle, probably. Right.
Yeah, I think that's basically what it averages out to. Yeah. Yeah, so that was definitely always part of it. And I was actually thinking I would reward you with those items way back after the museum, even. But I thought it feels weird that he would give them all these extra rewards after they just murdered a bunch of guards and things.
Oh,
so
right.
I'm thinking back in my head like he's gonna say like, "Hey, try not to murder people." And I'm thinking like, I'm gonna reward you with these
go
good
well.
items if you
Yeah.
try to get through it. That's almost like in a video game when you have like an extra challenge appear on
Oh,
the
yeah.
quest thing, and it's like, you don't have to do this, but if you do, the rewards will be greater.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's pretty much exactly what went down here. He just needs to utilize knocking fools over, then gaining advantage, or grab grappler feet. Push, grab, gain advantage. Yeah, I mean, I think, gosh, in this fight, I guess guys got out of the poison cloud though. At some point, there were blinded people that I don't think he attacked the blinded one. I think he attacked the other one. But yeah, some combination of trying to grapple and prone and all that kind of thing can definitely help the advantage.
Yeah.
When you have that many attacks, getting a debuff on somebody is amazing.
Right. Which I think is kind of new to 2024. I'm not sure that was a viable strategy for a
I
month.
think you could always, well, yeah, I guess it depends, but the way unarmed strike works is a little bit different, I guess, where you force somebody else to make the save versus you do the attack
Right.
roll. But it just takes place one of your attacks still, so that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, she got the decanter of endless water. Yep. Chris got the boots of Elvenkind. Tavine got the cloak of protection. Stacey got the periopt of wound closure. And Ray's character got the deck of illusions. All uncommon.
Looks cool. I'll have to figure out how to use it.
Yeah. The random nature is insane, but it's just
Yeah.
I guess it probably is it like silent image or is it
It doesn't say. I was looking at it going like
it just says looks and behaves like a real creature, so I guess it's better than silent image.
yeah.
Yeah.
So it's more of a
Just like
complete I would say it's a completely believable thing. And people would react accordingly, which most of these are insane monsters that would
That's why I was saying
Scare
like,
the pants off of people.
if you use this in a tavern, 75% of the list is just utter panic
Is
immediately.
correct.
Right? Like it's just
Yeah. Although I would argue that some of the creatures may be so big they would just clip through the walls, which would immediately make them look
Yeah.
like not real.
right.
So it would be interesting to use it in a very closed space of a dungeon. And like, oh, it's a hill giant. Well, that thing's just like clipping through the fucking ceiling.
Have him kneel down quick.
Yeah, that'll be up to you to utilize, but that's just an absolute insane chaotic item, which I figure would fit your character.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, anything else about Section 14? All right, I think that will do it for this week's chat. Thank you to Chris and Raymond. Thank you to all the fans for watching. We will see you all next week, and then after that, we're on break.
See you then.